Hi there, it's CJ Miller. I'm in my apartment in Shreveport, Louisiana, overlooking the view of downtown Shreveport across the Red River. It's beautiful, Bossier City, Louisiana, and I thought I'd do some food for the impetuous chef. My segment in which I just basically start cooking with no recipe and not much guidance, and basically just whatever I happen to have on hand. A very impetuous manner. Okay, so let's go check things out. Okay, so these are chunks of a hickory smoked ham that I had in the freezer. I was going to do it. I thought we were going to have like a much smaller Thanksgiving gathering. Like I thought it was just going to be my sisters and myself, maybe one or two other stragglers. But yeah, it turned out to be, pleasantly a wonderful gift of people coming around. And we hosted it at my sister's house. My sister wanted to do uh, uh, a lot of the cooking herself, so we did the turkey and the ham and everything. But I still had this hickory smoke, so that's what I'm doing here. This hickory smoked ham, and what we're going to do is a variation on a recipe that I saw some time ago called creamed ham. So that is a recipe that it's a in the French style. And when you had like ham like this, then you would make a cream sauce. Now, Bacamille is a sauce that is made. Let me show you. I've got some started. It is here. It is a sauce that is made from a blonde roux. That's where you take a little bit of flour. I used self-rising flour and butter, unsalted butter, and just kind of made a really, really, roux, just enough to give it a couple of minutes to get the flour in there, just enough to get it incorporated well. In this case, what's going to happen is the flour is going to cook from the sauce process for making the sauce. And once that happened, then I poured in, this amount, probably 3 to 4 cups of whole milk. You can use half and half. You can use, any sort of unsweetened cream, like a heavy cream, anything like that if you want to, but you're going to increases your fat content or something like that. So I didn't do that. I want to avoid using any sort of citrus, anything lemony in here because we don't want the milk to curdle. We don't want it to separate. Vinegar will do that. Acidity, like adding any sort of, if you had like a lemon and you're like, gee, let me put some lemon or something like that. Or if you had a ham that was left over from your meal, by the way, and you had like a lot of acidic fruit, then what you would want to do is you would want to use the ham that was as far away from that acidity as possible, so that you don't, curdle your milk. You want this to be real smooth. But if it does get a little thick or whatever, you add a little bit more cream to it, a little bit more milk, and thin it out. But let me give just a few minutes to get this kind of smooth, and then we're going to move to the part where we actually add the next part, which remarkably is going to be where we kind of switch it up. We're gonna add some other dairy products. If you know me, I'm taking this and I'm adding this basic creamed recipe, and that's what this would be. You do your cream sauce and then your ham, and for a traditional, you would want to take a piece like, let me take a piece like this actually, and maybe even cut it into quarters. You'd want it to be chipped, like that chipped ham. But I want bigger chunks for what I'm doing because I'm actually going to toss it into some pasta. I have some unused elbow macaroni from my macaroni and cheese. What I'm going to do, simple, is I'm going to add some cheese. I've got some Munster and I've got some white cheddar, and I'm going to shred into this pan. Just enough. No, I'm not trying to make a big, thick macaroni and cheese, but I want to add just a little bit of flavor to this to balance out the ham. And so we're going to get there in a moment. But let me pause this. Let me smooth out this. What we're going to do is we want to work with this just until we get kind of a simmer going. But you want to do it slowly. You want to do this slowly because we're still cooking the flour that we stirred into that melted unsalted butter. Okay, hang on. If you can tell from the Bacamil sauce, I'm starting to get some. Steam, some vapor, some of that vaporous steam basically coming off of it. Vapor actually doesn't have, you can't really see it. So, but it's steam. So we're getting a reduction because the water, the natural water that's in the milk or whatever is cooking, and this is reducing and thickening up. So, and this is almost to the point that it's still creamy enough that I want to start adding some cheese. I'm not going to really worry about grating it or anything like that. I'm just going to add it. I'm just going to break it off from the block and add it. So I'm going to work with approximately 3.5, 4 ounces of Munster. And if I need to thicken it a little bit more, I can add some of the white cheddar. But we want to use white cheeses here. I want to keep this a creamy sauce. And I've sliced about, 1.5 ounces of the white cheddar to go into the 3.5 to 4 ounces of Munster and the Bacamil sauce. Okay, so check how this is stirring. The cheese is getting melted. I'm not really concerned if there's little bits of clumps of cheese or anything like that, because it's all good. I'm just going to smooth it out and keep working with it and get it as smooth as possible, but it doesn't have to be liquid, rather, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. I don't mind if some bits have a little cheesier bite than another. It doesn't matter. It's all going to work really well. We're going to also have the texture from the ham, and then so it's just, this is a fork. I should be using a whisk that's safe, but I'm not actually scraping this pan. I'm gently, moving it about, So, but I should know better. Anyway, I'm going to get from the fridge some of my, this is a really great pasta. I'm going to show you the brand. Nothing too fancy about it. It says Skinner large elbow macaroni, and I like the larger kind when I'm doing like a nicer meal, And yeah, I do a lot of big holiday meals. This year I got to kind of take it off and I got to just make the mac and cheese, and people seem to like it. I think it turned out well. This is kind of not too far from that, but I'm going lighter on the cheese because I want it to be more cream. The cheese is there just to kind of give it a nuance. This isn't necessarily a macaroni and cheese recipe. I am putting the elbow macaroni in to give some texture, but yeah. And we're starting to see some bubbles here. Let me give this a quick little stir, then I'll get that macaroni in. Oh, and can you see how it's almost completely blended and smooth now? There is some stringiness, but for the most part, it's really working out well. Okay, and so here we are. I just put in probably, I eyeballed it, but about 2 cups of the elbow macaroni that was cooked. But other than that, nothing else other than al dente cooked. And so I'm going to finish it off here. And how simple is this? This is going to be so delicious, I can tell you that. But this is a creamed ham recipe. And we're going to go ahead and put in our ham. Put in my ham. Hickory smoked, why not, And the ham will provide, because it's pork, it's going to provide some saltiness. Won't need to add salt to this. Plus there's salt in the self-rising flour. I'm going to give this a stir, let all the components warm up, and then this is it. This is really all there is to it. If you want to add to this, maybe an Italian seasoning blend or whatever, season as you like. Um, this really needs very little beyond this. We're just going to let it warm up, and then we're going to come over and I'm going to taste it. But like I said, this is more of a cream sauce, and the cheese is very subtle. It's there just to give it something, just a hint of a cheese. I'm not trying to kill you with cheese here. So now I'm going to turn the heat down, cover, and just let it simmer for about 10 minutes, giving it the occasional stir. But I did rinse the macaroni when I finished cooking it. I strained it and rinsed it because I was using it for the mac and cheese that I was making. So this is kind of a variation on that. It's like I said, this is in essence a cream ham. So what you would do with the cream ham traditionally is that you would, like I said, chip it, and then you would put it in your white sauce, and that would be it. That's all you would do to it. If you wanted salt and pepper, you could do that or whatever. Basically, that's it. And you would not include the noodles. You would maybe have it over toast, toasted bread, or some hearty table bread or something like that. And that's the traditional way of having like a chipped ham. You know, did I say chipped beef before? I don't know, but chipped ham. But creamed ham is the recipe. But these are bigger chunks because I want it to kind of match the texture and consistency of the pasta. That's why I left it bigger. But other than that, yeah, this is my variation on that. So hang tight. I'm going to give it a tasting after the click. Okay, after a few minutes of simmer with the lid on, take the lid off, turn off the heat, let it sit and thicken, and as it does, I add, just a smidge of monosodium glutamate, about an equal amount of a smidge of garlic powder, not garlic salt, garlic powder. Then a little bit of cayenne pepper, about the same amount. And then, maybe an eighth of a teaspoon red pepper flakes, just for a little color. So there we go. Okay, so this is ready to go. I'm just going to take this, put it in a bowl, garnish with some Italian seasoning. I'm not going to stir it in. I'm just going to use it as a garnish on top. And then we're going to go over to the table. I'll bring you with me. And then I'll taste it. Okay, so here we are with my creamed ham and noodles. Okay, now remember the cream is the Bacamel sauce, but I used just a little bit of white cheeses, probably about 4 ounces in that whole thing. This is still very much a very milky flavor that we get rather than a cheese, but it's really good. Okay, and of course I added the macaroni. Traditionally, it's actually served over toast. Maybe you wouldn't garnish, but you could. Maybe a parsley or something off to the side. Some variations. You could serve this with the salad, or you could have some little green peas in here if you were kind of like that, You could have, if you didn't want green peas, you could do little bits of carrots. You could do little bits of carrots. If you didn't want to use elbow macaroni, you could use an egg noodle. It would work well with this, something like this. But the sauce, or if you didn't want to put the pasta in, you could just ladle this over the pasta, especially the egg noodle. That would look good. But this is a creamed ham, and let's taste it. I promise you, if it's disgusting, I'll let you know. But I think it's going to be good, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you thinned this out a little bit, it could be a soup. It could work as a soup. But I like it like this, the creamed the creamed ham. And the macaroni here is good. It's a very light flavor of cheese. Okay. If you're going to do this and you're like me, you want to watch your sodium intake, you want to watch the table salt, use an MSG, but still use it sparingly because there is salt in the self-rising flour. But you see, this is not a broken sauce, Um, I'm glad that we uh, did it slow. With a sauce like this, you have to cook it. You have to stir it very slow. If you get the heat up too high, it will break every time, I promise you. But this is good. Creamed ham. Here we go. Yeah, creamed ham. Obviously, I'm sitting here eating it. It must be good. But if you did something like this, you could use, if you didn't have ham, but you had maybe like some leftover chicken, leftover turkey, white meat especially would work for something like this. Dark meat I feel like would add too much. Dark meat would probably add too much flavor, and there would be an imbalance, but you could use the white meat if you had leftover white meat over something like this. Okay. There we have it. Okay. Creamed ham and my variation of it. Impetuously made. I was sitting around, what can I do? Gee, I'll try this. I saw some sort of creamed ham recipe way back. Creamed ham was something that they did back in the 40s and 50s. Very traditional wartime, depression time type recipe, It may have been an early precursor to chicken a la king. I don't know. But you could do something like this. Put your chicken in it. Put your peas and everything. You'd have a good start for a good chicken pot pie. Which I'm not a pot pie person because it's got too many vegetables. But chicken pot pie got too many vegetables for me. But there you go. Very, hearty, basically. Hearth because of the fireplace that they used to cook the food on or whatever, and their stone breads or whatever. Okay, so yes, I am supposed to be doing keto, but 2 days of Thanksgiving, yesterday and today, and I'm just gonna not worry about it for the weekend, and then I will begin Monday with a better direction on my diet. I've already set the midnight. My carb count will start. So I do whatever I want to do until Monday at midnight, and then it's strictly keto for this boy for at least a week. Okay, love you guys. Bon appetit. Ciao, Bella. Love and light.